live. Okay, I will call this meeting to order. Oh, guess who's here? Hi, do you have any words to say, or you want to introduce yourself and
I
then
will
have?
introduce myself for the record. I'm Peter Shea, representing the Democratic Party, and I hope everyone has been able to rest up from all the very hard work and long hours that you put in.
And Dawn, you want to mention what you had just told us?
That there will be no, we just received word from the state that there will be no statewide hand-eye recount on all the ballots. So,
So you can plan your holiday accordingly.
yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, I'll just give a little reason for this. Our staff has been working incredibly hard, and we had a substitute, I believe, that was taking care of the minutes. And for our meetings, we did have minutes for the meetings that would have been available, but we didn't have full board meetings we had board meetings, but we did not have the minutes available to us at the time we met. And we had so many responsibilities for our staff that at this time, just to remind you all that we were all sent, I think Karen, you sent it to us in a timely manner, the minutes for 10/29, 11/4, 11/5, 11/7, 11/14, and 11/15. And at this time, I would hear a motion to approve those minutes.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I know at this point, there are some various items that we need to discuss. And we have, so much of our recent time has been dealing with the recount and so forth. And so this is just like a general discussion of some items. Dawn?
Okay, well, I want to let you know what we currently is working on. We had a lot of public records requests that we're trying to get caught up on that require one in particular has requested copies of all of the absentee envelopes. So we're having to scan those, redact everything, things. I mean, that's just one of the many that we've had. So, and then things we're having to go back and research to get the proper request, that they want and the answers they want or documents that they are asking for. So that's what we're currently
Is
working
this
on.
at a usual rate or is this at an accelerated rate?
It's at an accelerated rate, but it has to do with the type of election it is, a lot. And a lot of it has to do with the protests and the recount.
Mhm.
So,
And we received those right in the middle of
right in the middle of the
Some of them
election or
came-
after the
yeah.
election or right before. I think the first one I got was the first day of early voting, so it's, and they're statewide. They're just, they send them to everybody in the state. So we're all working on them, waiting on guidance for some from the state. They still, they like to provide the guidance for what we send out.
How you respond to the request.
That's correct. So that's what we're working on. And then so evidently the two counties, as of yesterday, they were waiting on two counties to finish their hand-eye recount. They were unable to do it last week due to a board member having prior obligations, and they didn't have did not have the board in attendance, so they had to wait till this week. So they must have finished theirs, hence why we got the email from the state. And then, let's see, Elaine, that
do you want me
the
to?
website, that lady, Well, I was just going to tell you that that is something me and Judson had started working on prior to the election.
Mhm.
And we,
Can
he's
you
kind of
please
got it set up.
clarify?
Yes,
I've
Let me-
got it. Do you want me to just?
sure.
So, I received, a very nice, thoughtful email about, Board of Election meetings and ways that, someone, would like to increase transparency. And, one was to post all the meetings as soon as they've been scheduled by the chair. And initially, and I think it started out, no meetings were posted on the county website for the month of December. So.
There is.
And they are, I think they have been, but that's kind of started the whole thing. The meetings are scheduled in advance and posted on the website as soon as we know. I mean, we post the scheduled meetings well in advance, because like right now, we have them for we're just now getting them for 2025. So they're regularly scheduled ones. But then sometimes issues come up, or in the case of this recent election, where the election was on November 5th and it is now December 10th, and we just got notice that the last, that we wouldn't have a recount for the whole state. So sometimes those meetings don't happen in a way that we can post them so far in advance. So that might have caused some of that.
But we keep our online,
Yes.
the website calendar is up to date
Up
as
to
soon as
date,
we
right.
schedule a
And if we
meeting.
cancel, we put,
Right,
that it's
right.
canceled out there. Now, I do, some of the meetings, I think you issued the notices. They might be for the recount. They
Mhm.
probably were not on this schedule,
Uh-huh.
but they were a separate notice,
Right,
of
right.
notice of
So
recounts.
that might have been,
That might have
That's
been,
probably where.
that's probably what the issue was.
yeah.
The other
So is
thing,
it possible to, when we put the notice up, to also
I could do
change the
that,
count? Just so
yes.
if somebody,
Doesn't
I
see
mean,
the
I'll,
notice
sometimes I'll just Google
that.
this
Right.
Okay,
and.
sure. I can do that.
yeah,
Thank you.
okay,
Mhm.
okay. Another thing would be, that they asked that we post all the meeting agendas in advance so that the public know what's on the agenda. I don't, so is that something that we can do?
That's what I was, me and Judson have started working on that
Okay.
earlier prior to
Okay.
the election. And, something we want to get started in
In
the-
2025?
in 2025,
Okay,
is, having this posted, the agendas and minutes online.
and then, the last thing, would be a request to post on the Board of Election website packets so that the residents won't have to manually request the agenda and the packet of material given to the Board of Elections the day of the meeting, similar to county commissioners. I don't know that we have packets like that. Mostly what we have will be an agenda of items that we need to address, to vote on, to either approve or deny. And then, of course, our packets that we get would be absentee ballot, information, et cetera, that just, we don't see any names or anything other than what the board, it shows us and presents to us. So, that might be why we can't do something similar to what the county commissioners do. Like when they're addressing education issues, there's a packet that comes from the school system with data, et cetera. So, we'll do the best that we can to be as transparent as we can at all times.
Yes.
So, other items?
Well, I did want to talk to y'all about thinking about maybe in January or the first of the year, either January or February, because I know you, Elaine, didn't you say you wouldn't be here in?
I won't be here, starting February 15th. I'll
Okay,
be
so
gone
maybe-
for like a week and a half.
So maybe in January.
Mhm.
But this will give me time, hopefully, to call around us some other counties, and let's just talk about, things that went right, things that we can improve on, and that type of, I think we had spoke about that as well. Just kind of maybe tentatively set that for January, at the
Yeah.
January meeting.
Okay.
And again, like I said, I can call around to some other counties about the absentees, how, when they ran theirs, but, reading over that Senate bill, though, I did notice that one of the changes was we could start counting ballots earlier on election day. I think it said 10 a.m. instead of waiting till, which it originally says 5, but then, the board, we changed it to 2. We could make it as early as 2 o'clock. Now they're gonna, if that bill passes, one of the things would move to, earlier in the day. So that would help a little bit, in the bigger elections. Again, like I did speak with Davidson County, and, the way they did theirs, which I asked them how many, they didn't have as many, they only had like 1,000, but they ran theirs Monday night at they had the 5 o'clock absentee meeting, and then they started running the ballots at 6 o'clock, and they had 1,000, and they finished at like about 11. And,
But were we given guidance not to start before 2 o'clock on Tuesday?
How now we can run the ballots in the big elections, they tell us to run them. That was just 1 week, so we could do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do
I feel
that.
like I'm confused between two different things.
I'll get a clarification on that. How they did run them the night before, when on election day, the law states that. I'll get clarification on that.
When we do meet for that, can we have Tina be part of that meeting?
Tina?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. And then,
One more comment.
sure.
I know that Elaine and I have been contacted by our party chair after the election, just wanting with some issues that had come up or been reported to him anyway.
Right.
Would this be the time to, would that meeting be the time to discuss any of those issues if there are things to follow up on from that?
If maybe we might want to meet with him first
we'll
to
meet
see
with
what
him
type
first.
issues there are,
Okay.
and then if it's something we need to bring to the board.
Can I be at that meeting?
Sure. If Elaine, if you would like to set that up,
Yeah.
um,
Do you want to set that up now? Well, I'll set it up I'll contact Ron and
right,
talk to him about what works for him,
okay,
and we'll try to do it before 2 o'clock.
Yeah, that'd
Yes,
be great.
yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay.
That would work.
We had talked about doing that
mhm.
I
afterwards.
just don't want to leave something hanging.
No,
Right. And then I'm going to need to start working on the budget for next
Mm-hmm.
fiscal year, and just was thinking if y'all have any ideas of any recommendations, anything y'all feel is needed, or maybe in January, or you can call me or email me, and because I will begin working on the budget, and I'll bring that to y'all.
So it wouldn't be for next year, but for the following year. One of the things when we do meet and talk about things, I think we ought to think about what happened this year at election, and if there's some things that when the time comes, because as time passes,
Right.
your memory fades about what. So if we're thoughtful when we have our meeting to kind of address things that went well and not so well, that might be a time to say that when budget period comes, these are things that might make us more efficient. So
Definitely. Okay.
all right.
And then I passed around the board meeting dates for 25, and I went ahead and listed, we won't know until filing in July if there will be a Burlington primary. But in case there is, I went ahead and listed the absentee board meeting dates for that, the election date, canvas, and then, of course, we'll definitely have the November election. But so these are the tenant, the board meetings dates for 25. If you'll notice, there's not an August meeting. Generally, the state's directors conference is in the beginning of August, and that's what that's generally our August meeting. They just have it at the end of July this year, but that would serve as our August meeting unless there's some business that we need to take care of in August.
Do the trainings that we usually are asked to go to,
Mhm.
where does it fall?
That will be in Wilmington this year.
And what is it on?
It is July 27th, and that's Sunday,
Oh, gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
through July 29th.
So that's the directors conference? Is
That's the
that-
one that y'all go to.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Okay.
Has that, I mean, in the past, there's been two, right? Like,
They have had one generally this time of year, but they, because of everything going on, well, it's usually in like January or February. Well,
yeah, like there's a
it used
directors
to be in
meeting
the
and then,
beginning of December, then they moved it to January, but I think they're just, we're not
Wore
gonna
out.
have that with that. Yeah, they opted out of that,
Yeah,
and,
and it's going to be an off-year election year coming up.
right, so.
So it will-
But I mean, it is mandatory, that I go, and, I can check, if y'all were interested, just go ahead and let me know as soon as possible, so I can get you, the rooms booked and set up for that. And that's all I had, for today,
Okay.
since
we
we had the good news.
yeah. I just wanted to share, did you send out
Dawn
information
sent it
on
out.
that?
I don't know
I
if
did.
she's gotten anything back.
I did.
But you sent it to other board members?
We didn't.
We
know.
did not.
We
Okay.
did not.
But I
We
can
told them
print
it
it
was
off. I
going
can
out.
print it off, but I did get 2 responses back from Senator, Amy Gailey.
I guess be specific
And
about
did
what it is.
I sent that to y'all. We, Noah and, Madam Chair, they drafted,
Secretary Noah.
then Secretary Noah
Secretary.
sent out a letter to Senator Gailey and Representative Rydell and Ross concerning the Senate Bill 382 and the ramifications it could have on, for
The board staff.
the staff trying, pushing for everything to be done 3 days after the election, and especially in a year like we had this year. And so the replies I've gotten back was from Senator Gailey. She thanked, I'll read it. It just says, "Thank you. I believe it is anticipated that there will be resources appropriated to alleviate the staffing concerns," which that's not really our concerns.
Mhm.
I do want to get up with you, however, since the election is over, so that I may better understand the work of the BOE.
And that was one of the main things we were just asking, just to come talk to
Mhm.
the board or at least the staff about their concerns.
And-
Because apparently
Yeah.
they had not
Well, and
talked to you
Senator
before.
Gailey's already voted, so I'm more concerned about, have you heard from?
The only one
representatives?
I heard back from Polly Rydell, and she just said, "Thank you for sending this along to Representative Rydell. Thank you mostly for all the hard work our BOE does for us and for the many hours spent on this past election. I can't imagine the preparation and then the aftermath of tying up loose ends and keeping all in order after the day ended on the 5th. Our prayers are for you and all to have a very Merry Christmas and blessed season through the new year and beyond." That was the response I got, and I have not
Because-
heard back from
yeah, because
Representative
what we
Ross.
requested was that they contact the staff before they voted on the bill, so that they would understand the concerns the staff had, because apparently the staffs across the state had not been contacted for how this bill would affect them. And we saw personally how many hours, I think it was 10, 14-hour days that people worked to try to do what they had to do this year. And to abbreviate that time without consulting how that abbreviation would affect the staffs in the future, we thought that they had time before the vote happened to maybe address that. So that's what we were trying to facilitate, at least in Alamance County. So, okay, well, thank you.
Okay,
What was this? I'm sorry.
that is just, that is the rewrite of the various election changes in the bill.
Okay.
If you wanted to just kind of read over that, that was the section that had to do with elections and the provisionals.
That we talked about earlier.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Any comments, anything further?
I mean, I guess we're gonna wait on this vote and see what happens, but.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we mail notices to these people under ID law if they're supposed to be, third business day.
And, and there's also gonna be, it looks like there's gonna be, could be a constitutional amendment regarding IDs
Yeah.
for absentee ballots, that might be voted on, go up for the next election cycle. So that'll be,
What would that proposal look like?
but basically, you know how in this election, if people were not able to get an ID, they were able to do the documentation, that said, you know, they're the person that they are, et cetera, et cetera. And they weren't able to get it because of illness or whatever. The way I read it, if you don't have an ID, your vote's not gonna count by absentee ballot. So, so that's gonna be on the, I think that, and it's in the Constitution, the way it is now,
Mhm.
and that it is to change the Constitution. So, that'll be something that will be up, I'm sure that'll be, up for discussion, not among us, but, because we'll do whatever the state law requires, but, that's, definitely gonna affect elections, so. Anything else? If I don't hear anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Merry Christmas.